Okay. Hello, hello. All right. So let me see. Before I get started, I just saw someone, Ashanta. She said, "Do you have box truck information, or is this only 18 wheelers?" So this is for everyone trying to get into the trucking industry. So box trucks, semi trucks, hot shots, all types of operations. Um,
Yep.
but we're gonna get started. So I'm so excited to be here, you guys, especially since I have Daniel here. Daniel is one of the best in the industry. I always love to have him on with me. He's a great friend as well. What we're going to talk about today, he's also gone through that process. So we'll discuss that a little bit. But today's webinar is really about um, helping new owner operators save $15,000 to $45,000 in trucking startup costs. Um, so, but before we get started, well, before I go there, you're going to want to stay till the end because we will be dropping some gems throughout till the end. And then also, um, since we're just getting started, let's just get a few more people to come in. And then in the meantime, if you can just drop where you're from, your name, your state, um, and what type of operation you're trying to get started. Let's
I
see.
just realized I'm wearing the hoodie in that picture.
Is that the same hoodie?
Creature of habit. Yeah.
And see, so we have Jamelia from North Carolina,
Oh, go North
Neil from,
Carolina.
yes, Daniel, you're in North Carolina, right?
Yep. Just outside
Yep.
of Charlotte.
And then we have Charles from Chicago, Jazz from South Carolina, Gerald from Georgia, wanting to start a box truck business. Awesome.
Out of Georgia.
Hello. We got quite a few people from Georgia. Corey Williams, Troy from Texas. Hello, hello. All right. Okay. All right. We got a good amount of people coming in. Monty from Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Hello.
A- Atlanta and
Wait.
Pittsburgh. All right.
Okay. Imani from Georgia. Hello, hello. All right. Okay. Let me just get my screen. All right. So we'll get started now. We have a good amount of people.
All right.
So, just to tell you guys a little bit more about who we are, let me. So, I'm actually, my name is Jamie with DOT Compliance Management. And then we have Daniel here with Charles String Insurance Agency. So, in total, you guys, we have 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, that's just to show you the value that we're bringing to the community. So, if you guys could, on your own free time, hop on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to both Charles String. That's the name, Charles
Yep.
String from. Yep.
Uh, it's just called the Truck Insurance Channel. But yeah, the
Yeah.
agency Charles
So
String.
we have,
Yep.
correct. So if you put in Charles String or DOT Compliance Management and YouTube, you should be able to find us both there.
Oh yeah.
So, so again, my name is Jamie. I'm actually the lead compliance specialist at DOT Compliance Management. I'm also a licensed insurance agent. I've been licensed for over 10 years. Um, I love to be able to help new owner operators when it comes to launching, growing, and scaling their trucking business. My goal is really to help the newer owner operators launch their business in a safe and economical way, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And most recently, one of my achievements is that I was able to help a newer owner operator scale his business from 1 to 5 trucks within 7 months And I was able to help him save $20,000 to get started.
Nice.
Right. I'm like double clicking here. All right. And for Daniel here, Daniel is actually the principal agent of Charles String Insurance Agency. He has been helping truckers save money on their truck insurance since 2018. So he has a lot of experience as well. He works with both new owner operators and established truckers. And Daniel has year to date insured over 2,000 clients. So that's a lot of people he's helped.
It's a bunch. Yeah.
Do you want to add to any of that, Daniel?
No, that's good summary. I guess the only other thing I'd add to is like I went through the process of starting a trucking company, so I found all those pain points, and I literally did that just to figure out that and better serve customers. So when you're talking to people trying to figure out credibility and everything, like I went out of my way to try and get some credibility, and had 5 trucks on the road at one point. Did various operations, hot shots, box truck, semi. Yeah, just been around. And I also worked for a freight brokerage before all this, so I know that side of the business as well. And it's those things have really helped me, help our customers.
For sure, right? So it's one thing to talk to someone that's never even experienced opening up a trucking business, and it's another thing to actually experience someone that's gone through the process of what it means to buy a truck, what it means to put the truck on the road and hire drivers and actually manage a whole company. So that's why I brag so much about Daniel. All right. So who is this for? This is for, this webinar is if you are a new owner operator and you're looking to start a trucking business, but maybe you feel confused, maybe you feel as though you need some guidance, you're feeling overwhelmed, and you're just afraid of just making a costly mistake. This webinar is specifically for you. DOT compliance management, we exist to help both the smaller and the larger fleets, but today we're going to focus on the newer owner operators trying to get into the business, especially since you guys are having the most challenge when it comes to getting in. All right, so as you can see here, there's basically, I screenshot 2 Facebook posts within different Facebook groups. And pretty much this is a representation of what new owner operators are facing on a daily basis. So if we read the one to the left, this person says, "Greetings, everyone. I have a new authority and no one will hire me. I have a 2016 Isuzu. My payload capacity is 6,000. I have excellent equipment. I have excellent Geico commercial policy. Would any of you be willing to work with a new authority?" Okay. So this person's having trouble with finding work as a new authority. And then if we look at this person on the right, it's saying, this person's saying, "I'm having trouble finding any loads that are worth taking on any load board. I'm located in Mobile, Alabama. I have done some local loads by knocking on doors, etc. But other than that, I am struggling bad because of my new authority now at 32 days active. Please, any advice will help because it is hard paying $1,500 in insurance plus other expenses and barely being able to break even." So basically they're saying here at the last part, "I did not want to pay $300 a month and not be able to get loads working with Select This because of a new authority. Thanks, anything helps." So basically this is a huge representation of what is happening on a daily basis, and newer owner operators that are pretty much saying the same thing. They need help and they're struggling to find brokers and shippers that are going to be willing to work with them. Daniel, you're getting calls on a daily.
Oh,
Can you share some of those calls?
It's same scenarios, right? And or someone who doesn't consider this and then calls after the fact. It's like, what do I do? I've put up all this money, like I can't get loads, or I get a load to somewhere, but then I can't get a load back because there's just less freight where I went, and there's less options, and the brokers get to be pickier about who they'll book freight through. So yeah, really important to consider some of these things.
Are you finding like any within the first 6 months or within the first
Yeah.
year, your owner operators, their
It,
insurance
it,
policy
it,
canceling?
for sure. And it changed, like throughout COVID and after COVID, I guess, really. But, used to be, it wasn't that bad to have pretty much every broker option after 30 to 60 days, certainly 90 days. And now it's 90 is more of the starting point. 180, like the 6 month mark, is where we see, you have less restrictions. And so, yeah, it's definitely gotten tougher.
Yep. So I'm experiencing the same thing on a daily. And a DOT compliance management actually started off as an insurance agency, and we decided to add the consulting and compliance side to the business because, again, we found many of our newer owner operators within like the first 6 months were canceling their insurance policies. And so when you ask what happened, it's no one really wanted to work with me. And so what we've done is we work with the newer owner operators, and we're trying to really understand what you're trying to achieve and make sure that you're hitting that goal the right way. 2 questions that I always ask newer owner operators that I speak to is number 1, where are you getting your loads from? And then number 2, how much is your truck and your insurance going to cost you for the first 6 months of operations? So it's very important that you guys can be able to answer these 2 questions because we're going to do a little math and I'm going to show you why it's so important. But if you can't answer that question, it's not the best sign. But here's the math that you guys should be doing before you get into the industry. So the math here is going to be a basic example. We're going to start off with the truck payment that newer owner operators are typically paying. So typically you're looking at $3,000. Some people are paying even way more than that, but we're going to use a basic example, as I mentioned. So if you take $3,000 times 6 months, you're looking at $18,000 a month that you're paying only in truck payments. And if you take this insurance payment, on average, it would cost about $1,500, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more, depending on your state and your operation. You take that $1,500 and you multiply it by 6 months. You're looking at $9,000. By the time you take your truck payment, which is $18,000 plus $9,000, you're looking at a $27,000 fixed expense. And we're not including anything else that you're going to end up having to pay for. So I call this, hold on, let me go back. So basically, this is what you want to avoid, right? You want to avoid putting yourself in a situation where you're paying $27,000 in fixed expense with no idea of where you're going to be getting your loads from, or with no idea of how much it's going to actually cost you. Because what's happening on average, it's costing newer owner operators anywhere between $15,000 to $45,000 to get started for the first 6 months. Because brokers and shippers on the load board are requiring that new owner operators have aged their authority for at least 3 to 6 months. And so I always like to take Amazon as example. I'm sure you guys know about Amazon, but if anyone looks at the requirements for Amazon, it used to be that you can get your DOT or whatnot and then go knocking on their door and you're approved and you're driving with them. But now Amazon requires that you've had your authority for at least 6 months before they'll start working with you. So imagine Amazon is one of the companies that you wanted to work with, and you've 27,000 into this business. What's happening to truckers is they're tapping into their savings and creating a very high fixed expense for themselves without a guaranteed income, because it's not only Amazon doing this, but you have other brokers and shippers that following right behind Amazon. So what I call this a recipe for disaster, right? Which, because it's lost money, it's wasted time, and a shattered dream because you didn't create a game plan for yourself. You didn't understand where you're getting your loads from. You didn't do the math to understand what is this truly or really going to cost you to get into this business? Daniel, it sounds like you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say from my point of view, what I've seen, and it's tricky because getting started, saving up, planning out, putting all this into motion, sometimes you only get one shot at this, right? Because you can easily burn bridges with the insurance companies, or like maybe only one insurance company. We all know who that is. For a lot of people, there's only one or two options depending on like what state and type of operations you're doing. So it's real important you plan and execute just as perfectly as possible, which is really hard to do. So it's also about like reducing errors.
Some people don't know the company though that exists.
Oh,
That if they burn that bridge, what company
yep.
is that?
That would be Progressive.
So basically, right, if you realize, wow, I spent all this money and I can no longer make my payments with Progressive and I have to just back out of this business, and you decide a year later you want to get back in, Progressive has that record that you missed the payment or you didn't pay them. And so you don't want to get into this business damaging your reputation and you haven't even started, pretty much. Because getting back to Progressive, which is typically one of the main companies that you're going to start with, it's very hard to get back once you damage that relationship. Yep. All right. So again, this is what I call a recipe for disaster and a $27,000 black hole. So there is a better way, though. I just really wanted to paint a picture so that you guys understand what's happening in the industry. But there is great news for owner operators who want to avoid this trap. All right. So the owner operators that are the top new owner operators that are what they're doing to succeed is they are, number one, they're avoiding an unaffordable truck payment without knowing where their income is coming from. And then the second thing they're doing is paying as low as $200 to $600 per month towards insurance, which is that's $1,200 to $3,600 within the first 6 months versus $27,000, which is a savings of over $20,000, you guys. So if you do the math, this is a true, this is an ideal way, I should say, to really get started in the business. So we're going to talk about now how to avoid the trap and get started. This what I call the smart way. And I am going to let Daniel take that part away.
Yeah.
All right. And so
yeah, aging your authority. This has been a thing for a little while now. To just put it simply, we start a policy at the lowest possible limit that gives you authority active status. So you go in, hopefully before you apply, you go through the application, which results in a required limit of 300,000. So normally when you go through, if you're, as long as you're not like an auto hauler or hauling anything with hazmats or people, you're just doing general freight, your required limit out to FMCSA is normally going to be 750. If your equipment's over 10,000 pounds and you're hauling general freight.
Well, I think you're breaking up, Daniel.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
You were breaking up on my side. I don't know if you're breaking up on anyone else's side.
Okay. I'll go a little slower. Okay. But yeah, your normal required limit is 750 with the FMCSA. Brokers always want to see $1 million. That's a totally different topic. Just the FMCSA normally wants to see 750 for most operations. We go in either, once you've already applied, if you're at that 750 limit, or beforehand, we can coach you through getting the 300K limit. You put a personal auto, just like regular passenger vehicle, on the policy, just as a temporary placeholder. You're not actually operating during this time. It's just building up time with active authority status. And this is how you get the insurance so cheap. And yeah, I mean, it's that simple. And you can do this, normally I recommend at least a month, because there is like some extra steps to go in and change things with the FMCSA. So it's not like an instant change when you're ready to hit the road. You want to be planning ahead. Like all this is about planning ahead. So, but yeah, at least a month, but 6 months, 9 months, whatever you need to do. Most of my customers, or 3 to 6 months before they hit the road and are aging their authority. And yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple.
Okay. I didn't hear you well, and I'm hoping everybody else heard you. Just to make sure, I'm not even gonna go through the whole thing in great detail as you did, but I'll just quickly like summarize. But basically, it starts with the FMCSA profile, and the way that you complete that application is very crucial if we're going through the route of aging the authority, because any mistake could set you back, and that's really what you want to try to avoid. But when you're aging your authority, you do have to complete your FMCSA application a certain way. Okay. So step 2 is that you must have a personal vehicle in order to be able to go through this process. And then the third step is that because we're setting you up to age the authority, we're able to achieve insurance rates anywhere between $200 to $600, providing you have decent credit and a clean driving record. But typically with the clean record, good credit, you're looking at the lower end of around in the 200s. Would you say
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's rare that it gets below that. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. And then so, all right. And so those 3 steps is what's really needed to be taken in order. Well, I should say, we just went over the process of helping you save $15,000 to $45,000 in trucking startup cost. So just a little bit more about DOT compliance management. When we work with you, we do take a very comprehensive approach with our clients. It's very consultative, right? And we were basically just trying to understand your game plan and the goals you're trying to achieve. That way we can work alongside with you to make sure you're achieving those goals. Also, both Daniel and I, we are 5-star rated on Google. So we're very much aligned when it comes to the value we provide. We work to provide excellent customer service, and we just work to really, truly help our clients. So when you do work with us at DOT Compliance Management, we work with you to set up a business game plan. We work with you to get the most competitive insurance quotes. And then you also are provided a portal and back-end office support for all your safety compliance needs. When it comes to your authority setup, if you're a non-CDL driver, then you're required, if you're CDL or non-CDL, you're required to have a LLC and an EIN. However, after that, for a non-CDL, you're required to have a DOT, MC, BOC3. You're required to have insurance. Your UCR is required, and then you need to have a driver qualification file. If you are CDL, you need all of what I just said, along with the IFTA IRP registration, your 2290 heavy use tax. You need to be a part of a drug and alcohol consortium. Your business needs to be registered with the clearinghouse. And then you're also required to have state permits if you're crossing through certain states. And so we actually work with you regardless of whether you decide to set up for aging your authority or go what we call fully operational. With going through the process of aging your authority after the 6 months, which is what I highly recommend, we would transition you from aging to going fully operational. So yes, it is a 3 to 6 month process that you have to be willing to go through. You're not like starting right off the bat. You're either leasing on to another owner operator or you're staying at the job that you're currently at while you're working on aging your own authority. With our services, we also work when it comes to driver onboarding, which would include pulling their MVR, any employment applications, med card verifications, verification of employment, any drug tests that's needed for them, and then any PSP reports that need to be pulled, we pretty much take off driver onboarding off of your hands. And once we go through the process of aging the authority and getting you fully operational, we're still there for ongoing support and we work with you to monitor your company. That way, number one, you're passing your new entrance audit, which every new authority goes through within the first 12 to 18 months of their business being started. We work with you to develop a positive CSA score. If you don't know what a CSA score, it's something that you really want to look into because it impacts your business in a major way. But we'll explain it to you, and we'll work with you on making sure you're managing it accordingly. Your monthly safety checkups, we work with you on that. And then your ELD and compliance monitoring, that would be all included with our ongoing support. All right, so we're gonna do frequently asked questions. Any questions that you guys have, you guys can put them in the comment section. But prior to that, I do want to show you guys how you can connect with us. So the next step would be either if you're on a desktop to take a picture of the QR code, or that link, DOT Compliance Management, go.dotcompliancemanagement.com/webinar-next-step. You're going to want to hop on there, and I'm just going to quickly show you guys how to book what we call a strategy session.
Just reading through some of the comments here.
Okay.
While you're pulling that up, a lot of brokers don't deal with Progressive. There's some truth to that. But a lot of them do deal with Progressive because Progressive insures in any given state at least 70% of truckers under 3 years old. So like there's a lot of brokers that are forced to. Otherwise, like if there was no Progressive, there'd be a lot of trucks out of operation. What else? What if you don't have a personal auto or can't find anyone willing to help? Well, you got two people here willing to help. And you don't have to actually own a personal auto. You can use a VIN number, a generic VIN number for passenger vehicle. It's fine because you're not actually doing anything with it. It's just a placeholder. Yep. Can I use my current insurance, Geico, to age authority if I decide to get one?
How come I don't see these questions? Where are you?
You might, if you're in here, Jamie, switch from private chat to comments.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. I don't know if you can do it with Geico. Have to.
No, you can't. Geico's minimum requirements is $750.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. It's only Progressive that's going to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so really quick, if you guys want to speak afterwards and set up a strategy session, that QR code that I had on the screen, you would have taken a picture of that. It would have taken you to this site, and you just click on book a call with Jamie. And then you can just choose any of the dates and time slots, and then I would be giving you a ring from a 1-800 number. So I think I see Andre. If you see something available, then go ahead and hop on there and choose that slot. Any other questions that you guys have before we hop off?
I saw one come in. During the aging stage, is it possible to lease on to someone else to get started? Would it be recommended not going to be the driver? Yeah, you can definitely lease on to somebody else, because whatever truck you have, you'll lease that onto the other motor carrier, put that on their insurance, because that's how that works, and then you'd have your own separate policy. but like you wouldn't use your aging policy for anything related to being leased onto that other carrier. How does applying for a job and insurance work if you're not going to be the driver? That's a tough question. It depends on your scenario and which insurance company you end up going with. Most of the time, you're still going to be listed as a driver unless there's some reason to exclude you, or like if you have CDL equipment, CDL drivers, and you don't have a CDL, obviously you can't drive it or you shouldn't. So you don't have to be listed in that scenario. But again, it still depends on the insurance company. And then also sometimes you do want to be listed even if you're not going to drive, because there's always that scenario where, oh, whoops, I have to because of an emergency, whatever. But also just pricing wise, there's like Progressive sometimes will surcharge an account if the owner is not listed as a driver. It's just what it is. But yep.
But I think Teresa, we spoke. I think you're non-CDL operation, so you can always use both your information along with your driver's information. How can I make you my insurance agent, Jamie? I'd love to be your insurance agent. You would have to, if you hop on the calendar, you guys, we can talk about it. I'd gather your information and then we can work towards the insurance and working on that. How does applying for DOT MC numbers work? Andre, yeah, so that is exactly what we help you do. Like we work with you to set up the DOT, the MC, and everything else that you're going to need to be compliant. Especially again, if you're aging the authority, then we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. So we work with you to make sure that you're doing it that right way. Do you guys fix credit and get business funding for drivers? I don't fix credit, nor do I get business funding. Daniel, do you have any?
No, I've looked into it in the past, but I know there's a lot of other providers out there. I kind of, we just stay in our lane of insurance at this point. We'll help consult and connect to anyone that we possibly can, just because when you're in this, you meet a lot of other people and a lot of it's dependent on other vendors. But when it comes to credit services, I don't have a guy for that or a gal. But I would look into it, and I think there's a couple questions about that. Do I need strong business credit to get a good load? Is there any credit reporting that you know of with brokers? Like Carrier 411 is what most brokers use. There's nothing credit related there. It's just strictly inspections, insurance yeah. Active or not. As long as you don't have any freight guard reports, you're normally pretty good. There's something else where carriers can go look up credit status with brokers. I just can't remember what it is off the top of my head, because you want to make sure these people are actually going to pay you. Yeah. No, you don't really need business credit to get good loads. You just need to make sure you maintain your reputation. Thanks, Charles.
Awesome. Yes, Charles. Okay. So is there any other question before we log off? I see Mark. Mark, is that your phone number that you're giving me here? All right. Any other questions? Going once, going twice.
Awesome.
Oh, somebody asked, will I get penalized if I drop Geico and get with Progressive? Well, it depends on your situation, James. So do you currently have an existing
Geico commercial policy?
Yeah. Do you have a Geico commercial policy with them?
I wouldn't really consider it penalized either. It just depends on billing cycle and timing. So you might have a balance due, but they're not going to charge you anything like in advance. not typically. The only time you would, I guess, get penalized is when you have like a minimum earned on a policy, which is normally like 25% of the policy's premium. So if it's $10,000, minimum earned would be 2,500. If you cancel within 25% of that policy, then you would still owe whatever the difference is.
So you're saying he has a general auto policy. So it sounds like you have a personal auto policy. So we're not setting up a personal. Yeah, when we're aging the authority, we're not setting up a personal auto insurance policy. So you keep that Geico policy that you have. If you have a personal insurance policy, you're keeping that policy in force, and you're setting up a commercial insurance policy using your personal vehicle. We don't want you canceling your personal insurance policy.
Don't do that
at all. It's just,
you never ever want claims on your commercial policy. So keep the personal auto policy.
Charles, so before I forget, do you guys help with factoring as well? I can connect you with a really good guy for factoring. But no, I do not personally do factoring, nor does Daniel do factoring.
Nope. Maybe one day, not yet.
Can you set up a conference call after me? I left my number on here. Andre, I don't see your number on here, but if anyone that did leave their phone number, most likely Angel, who's on my team, is going to call you just to set up an appointment with you guys, if that makes life easier for you. All right, Andre, I see it.
Great.
All right. I think Andre. Anything else? Anything else you want to add, Daniel?
No, I think that's it. Just if you have any questions, hop on there and schedule the call. That's the best next step. No matter where you're at in the process, it's always helpful to get some more advice and just plan.
Yeah, so everyone's story is different, you guys. So we just gave you a general, some general information. So my suggestion is, again, book a call for a 15-minute strategy session, and we can go over your specific situation and see how we can make it work.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, and have a great rest of your day. I hope to talk to some of you guys.
All right.
Bye. Thanks, Daniel.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course.